What's up, guys? I'm back like I never left. In this video, we're going to be looking at Workhorse Stock. There's been a lot of insider activity with this company. It's been getting a lot of attention, so insiders have been buying and selling. We're going to look at exactly who's been buying, who's been selling, exactly what price are insiders selling this stock. We're also going to be looking at what to expect for their earnings coming up pretty soon. You're going to be hearing from the CEO, and all this information is going to be coming up, so make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video. Now let's get right into the video. Alright guys, so before we get into the video, make sure you smash the like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe if you have any questions, and make sure you drop in the comment section below, guys. So as you can see over here, we got Workhorse Stock, which is currently trading at $16.52, which is down 0.72% today. In the past 5 days, as you can see, it had a pretty nice spike to around $19.18, and it's pulling back to the downside. So we're going to be looking at exactly who are the insiders that have been selling this stock. So I had a question about this specific insider activity that happened within the past 3 months, and I'm going to be explaining to you guys exactly why is the potential of these individuals within the company selling these stocks. So before I explain to you guys, we're going to see exactly what are the amount of shares that these insiders are buying and selling. So in order to check exactly this important information, all you got to do is go to nasdaq.com, and you can type in any company information symbol over here, and then they'll show you exactly the insider activity. So for this case, we're going to be looking at Workhorse Stock. It's going to show us exactly for the past 3 months the number of buys and sells. As you can see, the number of buys in the open market has been 12, and the number of sells has been 15. The total transaction was 27, and for the past 12 months, there's only been total insider activity is 46. So these are going to be the total amount of shares that these insiders bought and sold, exchanged. So but we're going to be focusing on exactly the number of activities that happened within the past 3 months, because Workhorse Stock has been spiking to the upsides, and insiders were unloading their shares too when the stock was going to the upside. So we need to pay attention to who's buying and who's selling, and what are the amount of shares that these individuals were unloading in the market. So as you can see over here, we got Anthony, which is the officer in the specific company. The last date that this individual sold their shares was 07/17, which was last month, and he sold his shares. We have a Joseph also at 07/15. He sold, and we got the director Joseph again, who sold at 07/15, which is basically at the same time. Disposition non-open market. So what this basically means is when you are buying and selling in an open market, that basically indicates that you're using a broker. So you have like Robinhood or Webull, but as you can see, the definition of a non-open market, it basically describes an agreement to purchase or sell shares made directly within the company. So that is the transaction that happened on this specific date and time. So we also have the director that used options to execute on 07/15. So you probably watched my how to trade Workhorse options video, so that's why he saw that video and he executed that trade. So I don't blame him. So we got the officer, also we got Robert, who sold at 07/15/2020. We also have the officer, another officer that sold 07/13. So now we're going to be looking at, as you see, we got a lot of selling that's been going on. So let's see exactly how and what prices are these individuals selling. So in order to check that specific information, all you got to do is you can go to this website, and it will indicate to you exactly what prices are these individuals unloading their shares and how many shares are they selling. So we talked about Joseph has been selling a lot. We talked about also Anthony. So he's the recent transaction that happened was he sold his shares at $16.34, and he also sold, Harry also sold at $16.34. We got Joseph, he did an options trade, and also he sold his shares at around $15.97, $16.34. We got all these other individuals that have been selling around $16.48, 15, 17, 15, 16, 17. So they've been unloading pretty good around the 19, above the $15 area. But as you can see, this kind of things happen within a company, especially if this stock drastically goes to the upside. So if you go and see even Amazon stock, even Jeff Bezos is selling his shares currently because the stock is up, and he recently sold 3.1 billion worth of the Amazon shares. So you don't blame for individuals that wanted to take in the profit, especially their earnings are coming pretty soon. There's going to be a potential volatility that might happen and might drastically affect the stock. So if you don't want to get involved or speculate or hold their earnings, you can sell. But as you can see over here, they've been selling like last month, so they're not actually planning, to lock in their profits before earnings and things like that. So these transactions happened a few weeks ago, like 2-3 weeks ago, which was on 07/17. And within the past, when you look at all the history, these individuals have been selling, their shares even when the stock was at like a penny stock, below $5. At around over here, you see a sell that happened. Joseph just keeps unloading his shares at $2.99. He's been selling at $3, $2.74. All these transactions happen, so it's not really a surprise to see this specific selling and buying also happening within company, options buying happening within this individual company and within other major companies too. But it's really important to know that. So what I personally believe is just they're probably locking in the profits, and I don't blame him, because this stock used to be a penny stock and it went to $16, $15, $19. So I'll definitely lock in the profits. If you want to check out how market psychology works, you can check out yesterday's video, because you don't want to be at the end of the day just holding your profits and just hoping the stock's just going to go to infinity forever. So you definitely want to lock in your gains. So now let's look at exactly what to specifically expect for Workhorse stock. So we saw that the chart that the stock has been going to the downside a little bit after it went to $19 for the past few days. Investors will be hoping for strength from Workhorse as it approaches its next earnings release, which is expected to be August 10, 2020. And on that day, Workhorse is projected to report earnings of minus 0.12 per share, which would represent a year-over-year decline of 20%. Our most recent consensus estimates is calling for the quarterly revenue of $0.3 million, up 2,900% from year ago. So that is fantastic. So we're going to be listening to exactly what the CEO is going to talk about, how there have been recently questions being asked that the company doesn't have, money to stay afloat for 2020. He explains exactly how the company had $100 million available right now at their disposal. He talked about the upcoming USPS contract. He didn't go in detail, but we're going to listen to exactly what he's expecting for this company coming forward. Now let's get right into the video.
Stock, you've been public for about a decade and nothing, and then all of a sudden in the past few months it's just gone high. It's gone from 2 and change to 16 and change where it is today. What do you think accounts for this rise? Is it a match in a change in the fundamental state of your company?
It's a combination of things, I believe. There's been a big spotlight shown on the electric vehicle space. You mentioned we're out of Cincinnati, Ohio, and it's been really difficult over the years to scream loud enough as an automotive OEM out of Cincinnati to get the attention we feel like we deserve based on the performance of our vehicles that have been on the road with more than 6 million miles. But again, that spotlight that's been recently shown through different SPAC vehicles, such as the Lordstown announcement, that brings additional attention to us and has given us an opportunity to demonstrate our proof of performance and the things that we've been doing well and continue to do well. So I'd like to think that a lot of it is because of our performance as a company, but it's also just that people are taking a much higher profile view of the EV space now.
Right. And we should note that you're going to report earnings on August 10th, so you can't get too deep in the weeds on specifics, but I do want to talk about your business and maybe some of the reasons why the stock may be rocketing higher at this point. Can you talk to us about your expected production ramp and the bookings that you have so far? Between the fourth quarter and the first quarter, we saw a pretty steep decline in the dollar amount of vehicles delivered, 364,000 to 84,000 in the first quarter. And I'm wondering what you see as the trajectory going forward.
Yeah, that's a great question. I appreciate that. In reality, we delivered our first vehicles in March of 2015, and we delivered our Generation 1 electric vehicles through December of 2017. At that point, we, I'll say, took a pause and paid attention to our customers, did a lot of learning over the experience of having those vehicles on live duty routes, the 6 million miles I mentioned before on the road. And we were able to really identify what the electric vehicle of the future really is for our commercial fleet customers, primarily in the, the parcel delivery space and the last mile delivery space altogether. So since our redesign, which I see you showing on the screen there, and identifying things such as the weight of the vehicle. For example, a combustion engine step van that's used for parcel delivery today, they weigh about 11,000 pounds before you put the first package in it.
Right.
What we identified was the ability to reduce that weight would allow us to right-size the battery pack, give us a better opportunity, as well as our fleet customers an opportunity to have a stronger ROI and a total cost of ownership savings. And so taking on the things that differentiate us, such as those weight savings, have given us an opportunity to now move into production this year, where we've already delivered the first 2 of our Generation 2 vehicles. And we're really loading up, if you will, to deliver primarily in the fourth quarter of roughly 300 vehicles this year, on a backlog of roughly 1,200 that we have currently and continuing to grow.
So you've delivered 2 vehicles so far. You aim to have 300 by the end of this year. Is that
correct?
Okay.
Correct.
In the meantime, Dwayne, I want to talk to you about your cash position. You ended the previous quarter. I understand you have another quarter that you're going to be reporting shortly with $16 million in cash. All your expenses have gone higher in the meantime. Cost of goods sold, SG&A, research and development. You're burning cash. How long is that $16 million going to last, especially as you are ramping up to go from 2 delivered to 300 by the end of the year?
Very good question. And I think we publicly announced just the other day or a week or so ago that we have over $100 million in cash at this point due to a new financing we brought in addition to the warrants that came in cash. So we are in our strongest position. I'll say it this way. For a company with the most amount of electric trucks on the road given any other company in the U.S., we are now in our strongest cash position that we've ever been in. And we feel very good about our position in cash as well as our ability to deliver on the orders.
What can you tell us about the status of the U.S. Postal Service potential contract? That contract could be worth as much as about $5 to $6 billion. You could get a partial award. You could get a full award. You submitted the RFP, I think, mid-July. When will you know? Your CFO recently said that this award would be transformative for the company. I mean, I would imagine that would be so if your cash position right now is about $100 million. I mean, that contract could be, truly changing for your company.
Yeah, I would say any contract like that would be changing for any company virtually. In our case, we're unable to speak about the post office at all. I have to say no comment because, we're under a gag order of not to talk about it. But certainly, to your point, any contract that's worth billions of dollars coming into a company like ours would be a very, company-changing experience.
When do you expect to hear?
We don't really have a timeline for that. Publicly stated, the post office had their original information was, I believe, somewhere in that 90-day range after the RFP responses, but that was part of the program from the very beginning, so we do not have an answer to that today.
Okay, and if you got that award, that would be 300 by the end of the year plus whatever it is for the Postal Service?
Correct.
Okay. Dwayne, great to speak with you. Hope you'll come back on the show sometime soon.
Yep, would love it. Thank you for taking the time, and have a good day.
You too.
Alright guys, so as you just saw in that video, the CEO explained in detail about what to expect, their future, and how they are really one of the best candidates to win the USPS contract. And also another key important thing we want to be looking at is going to be the short float. There's a lot of people that are shorting the stock, which is 33.6% of the available shares outstanding, which is 68.47 million shares, and the share of the float, which is 58.5. So out of these shares, there are 33% of them are holding and betting that the stock is going to go down. So if there's a positive news that could come out on earnings, there can definitely be a short squeeze. So shorts, the people that sold these company expecting to buy it when it sells to the downside are going to be forced to cover if the stock goes to the upside. So that is going to fuel the stock to even go higher on the short term side. That is a great opportunity to be to keep an eye on, especially on earnings day if the stock goes to the upside. So we'll see. It's going to be really interesting to see exactly what is going to happen, guys. So make sure you keep an eye on this company on August 10, guys. So if you have any questions, any comments, guys, make sure to drop in the comment section below. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. If you want to join the Discord chat, that's going to be linked in the description box below. If you want to support the channel on Patreon too, you can go and sign up. And shout out to everybody that's on the Patreon. I really appreciate it, guys. But I'll catch you guys on tomorrow's video. Have a wonderful day.